Sundancer here has had about 3 full months off at this point because we were finishing up fencing and bringing in 22 Alpine Wild Horses all throughout October and November, and then dealing with some health issues and getting them settled in December. So he's just been hanging out with his buds in the pasture, being a horse. And so this week we are starting again with regular training sessions with this guy. And I wanted to draw attention to something that is often overlooked in many horse training styles that are very popular. So instead of just hopping back into training sessions, I am going to be taking a little bit of time just to hang out with Sundancer before we begin training again. And this just solidifies our relationship and connection first and makes it the main focal point versus just, hey, I know we haven't done anything in a while, but can you do these things? So it kind of takes the mindset away from what Sundancer can do and puts it back on our relationship to one another. So all I'm really doing is hanging out. Right now, I'm allowing him to sniff my hand, and I'm engaging with him. You see me rubbing his lips here, and he's just giving me little nibbles. If you engage with your horse like this, that is the horse equivalent of a handshake, and so it gives them time to get used to you being in their space, and allow them to release any stress that they may have built up. And a lot of times, if you engage with your horse like that, you'll see some big licking and chewing and big yawns if you just do that. And don't chase their mouth around. If they move their head away from your hand, let them go. If they return, then you can engage with them some more. So after I engaged with Sundancer here, he stepped up and asked for some scratches. So right here, I was going to go to the other side, but you can see he kind of blocked me with his head. So I'm offering to engage once again. And there he lifted his head away from my hand, indicating that he wasn't ready to engage. And then he returned in his own time when he was ready. And now he seemed like he just wanted to give my hand a sniff, so I went ahead and let him do that. We've got Ghost peeking around in the back here, very curious about what we're doing. Sundancer with his ears a little pinned tells him to get away. He's very protective of me at this point, even though we haven't done anything in a while. In the last 3 months, I have just hung out with Sundancer probably 10 times, I'd say. It's been a super busy time for us. We were not prepared for the snow with our driveway. We have a giant hill that's almost 45 degrees, and in the last 2 weeks, we've been stuck at least 10 times. So we've had a lot to deal with, and I haven't been able to spend very much time with him even. So here we are, and we're just working on hanging out, being pals. I'm trying to find his itchy spot here, and it looks like I found it right in the middle of his shoulder, and you can tell by his lips, his head doing this wiggly thing here, and he's kind of sticking and stretching his neck out like this. So anytime you just hang out and you do something that your horse wants to do, that is immediately going to strengthen your bond. Now, let's compare that with training styles or styles of being with horses that say, we're going to do what I want every single time, and you're going to do what I say every single second of all that time. That's when we get horses that don't really enjoy what they're doing, because there's no two-way relationship in that. That is a dictatorship, okay? And here we see, I'm just exploring, trying to find any more itchy spots here. And here, he turns around and kind of nudges my hand to let me know, hey, that's not the right spot. So I return to his shoulder here. And once again, we've got all these signs that that's a good spot. Okay, so then I thought, let's try to walk around to the other side again, because he's probably got an itchy spot over there as well. And there we go. Also on the shoulder, now we've got all this lip movement. His head is doing all this funny stuff going on. So if your horse likes scratches, scratches are a wonderful bonding thing to do with your horse, okay? Horses in a herd spend a lot of time just hanging out with one another, and a lot of that time hanging out includes mutual grooming. So the horses, you might see them, they're scratching each other with their lips or their teeth, usually right behind their withers, or even onto their back and hindquarters, and maybe even onto their neck. So we can take part in this part of the relationship between horses as a human, even though I just want to clarify, yes, the horse does know that we are not a horse. And this is something that gets in the way of a lot of training styles. And he's super curious about the phone. I'm not usually holding it when I'm around him. I'm usually just with him, or I've got it on a tripod off in the distance. And notice there, he kind of removed his head out of my reach a little bit. So I'm not going to step forward. I'm not going to come into his space. I'm actually going to retreat a little bit because he got a little stiff. And then here we have some relaxation happening. The head drops, the eyes are blinking, the ears start moving, but then he looks away. So I decide to back up, and we actually end our session here. After he itches, he goes on smelling the ground, which just indicates to me that he's not super interested. And it was getting almost dark at this time, so I needed to go feed anyway. So stay tuned. We'll be starting regular training sessions again very soon.